Alrighty, everyone. This is meteorologist Timmy Albertson here with you guys for a quick little weather update. If you've been watching some of the college football games this afternoon, you've probably noticed that quite a few of them have been in rain delays, some of them for kind of a long time. And what's actually really interesting about that is all these delays are actually connected to each other. And now, if you remember the past couple of days, we've been talking about a frontal boundary up the East Coast that has since stalled out. And as a matter of fact, we're going to flip over here to the radar and let's take a little bit of a look at it. So it goes all the way from Maine down to, go ahead here a quick second. I'll go ahead and move this down a little bit. It goes from Maine all the way down through New England, and then it cuts its way through Pennsylvania, and then down into parts of the Deep South. That's that frontal boundary. Now, what's interesting, if we took a look at the upper level charts, what we actually also see that we have going on here is that we have basically this little bit of an upper level trough slash kind of quasi closed off low. And we're seeing these little disturbances kind of rounding the base of these upper level low and then tracking their way kind of up the East Coast. Now, this trough is likely not going to be moving much because there's actually a ridge over the Atlantic, and that's kind of stopping this right now. So this is probably not going to go anywhere, but it will be weakening. However, it's still around enough to help to produce some of those showers and thunderstorms right along that frontal boundary that is stalled out across a good part of the East Coast United States. So because of that, we've been seeing a lot of scattered showers and thunderstorms this afternoon, and we're likely going to continue to see that. One of the big games that's been delayed was the Notre Dame game Notre Dame was playing down at North Carolina State, which was in Raleigh. They had a thunderstorm that blew through a little while ago, but that thunderstorm has now since made its way off to the north. Now they're just kind of dealing with a little bit in the way of some light rain. But another game not too far away is going to be the Wake Forest game. That's over in Winston-Salem. They're at halftime right now, at least as of recording this, and things are pretty quiet there, but there is some shower and thunderstorm activity that is just off towards their west. However, the direction of these storms this afternoon has kind of been from south to north. So the ones that are just off to the west of Wake Forest will likely remain just off to the west of Lake Forest. So will be interesting, though, is to see if there's any thunderstorm development that happens down to the south. So other games today that are going to be played along the East Coast includes Georgia Tech, which is all the way down in Atlanta, University of Virginia over in Charlottesville, Virginia Tech down in Blacksburg, Virginia, Wake Forest, we already talked about them, University of Georgia over in Athens, Georgia, and then North Carolina State, which is the game that's also currently in a delay. That's down over in Raleigh, North Carolina. And a lot of schools up and down the East Coast are going to be probably dealing with that as they go through the afternoon. Now, with that in mind, most of these storms are just thunderstorms. A couple of them have managed to become severe, or at least, are thought to be right at the baseline of severe, which is some small hail and some locally gusty winds. It'll also be interesting to see here. You could see some decent storm development later on this afternoon across eastern Pennsylvania going back into New Jersey. Good possibility we could see a severe thunderstorm watch there issued in just a little bit. So if you've been watching those football games, you've been wondering why there's so many rain delays. Well, that's why. We have the stalled out frontal boundary up and down the East Coast, and we still have the parent upper level system with it hanging around. It's not going to be moving much. This whole thing is stalled out. And ironically, the ridge that is over the Atlantic that is kind of helping to stall those storms out, or at least stall this frontal boundary out, is the same ridge that is keeping Hurricane Lee down to the south. On a side note, taking a look at Hurricane Lee, I mentioned the buoy that we have out there. We go ahead and we're going to flip that over. Just want to take kind of a quick look over at that buoy. And kind of see how it's doing. It is kind of getting knocked around pretty good right now. Tropical storm force winds well over it, gusting over 60 miles an hour. Wave height about 22.5 feet right now. That's the picture. Very hard to see, but it is certainly getting rocked out there. They had one of the pictures that was taken a little bit ago. It did show. I mean, it looked very wavy and very stormy out there. So with 20-foot waves, I guess that's what you'd expect. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, sustained winds right now about 47 miles an hour. So this is about, right now, we measured it earlier, it's about 90 miles northwest of the center of Lee. Obviously, it's going to kind of continue to be passed down to the south by Lee. And so it'll be rocking around here for the rest of the afternoon and into the evening hours. So with that in mind, that's just a quick little weather update. Like I said, in case you guys are wondering why there's so many rain delays up and down the East Coast with a lot of these football games, well, that's why. A lot of them dealing with that same frontal boundary that's draped just all across the East Coast. and they're just seeing those scattered showers and thunderstorms firing up because of that. Alrighty, everyone. I think that was a good explanation. I think we got the point across here. Hey, hope y'all have a good rest of your afternoon. We'll see you back here this evening for the weather chat. Have a good one, everyone.